Join us for a discussion with creators who are leading the way in 21st century entertainment. Does the current Hollywood structure support them?
Question.
How do they independently forge ahead with the emergence of a new show business model?
How?
How does using XR enhance their visions and make their projects reach extraordinary heights?
How?
These topics and more will be explored on this exciting panel with the next generation of movie makers and performers.
Woo!
Okay, and our speakers today, Jonathan Sims.
All right. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Jonathan is the director and XR creator for Hyper RPG.
Woo!
Whitton Frank.
Woo! What's up?
Producer and performer, Ferryman Collective. Brendan Bradley.
Woohoo! NPC.
He's a scrappy storyteller from the Jigsaw Ensemble. Victoria.
No, she's not here.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about her, but she's not here.
And the one and only Lisi Linares, publicist. Thank you.
Da 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 da. Do we have two mics there or mic here? This is better. Okay, the da 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 is actually a great theme because I think up here we all feel like Sylvester Stallone going up those stairs in Philadelphia. Da, da, da.
He did have to write it.
He did have to write it, but that's the whole thing. That's the challenge, you know. Darling strong out, da, 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 you know. Okay, everyone, it's a real pleasure to be here with these real groundbreaking artists. They are doing things that a lot of us just kind of imagine. They are bringing it into the real world. And the main idea behind this, we should close that door because I could hear people out there.
Thank you.
And I don't want to be distracted because then
It's the
bad things will
spatialized
happen.
audio.
All right, there we go. So, the main idea here is how do we get creative people like these people to really get paid attention to within the structures that exist in Hollywood right now? Unfortunately, we have to play within that model to be able to step it up because that's the only industry model we have. So we're going to start this discussion with something as simple as a brief introduction, starting with John Sims. Everyone say hello to Sims. We'll come on down to Brendan Bradley. Introduce yourself, guys, and I want you to tell the audience how you got here. Sims, take it away, Pops.
Oh man, introduce myself. I've been working with celebrity drag queens in the NBA, which is exactly where I want to be in XR. I come from visual effects, giant things you've seen, X-Men Apocalypse, Hunger Games, American Gods, Birds of Prey. So I come from inside, I think, the studio system, but I'm also this kind of transgressive renegade artist. And when the XR space started to resolve itself, I saw an opportunity not only to make a name for myself, but also to kind of pioneer a style and a voice that I knew I might have, be easier to get in front of people and also kind of get a chance to do something new. And so that's me.
Hi, I'm Whitton Frank. I am a producer and a performer and a director. I'm all those multi-hyphenate things that artists find ourselves having to be these days. You know, you no longer just say, I'm an actor. You know, there were times when, well, you can, but no one will believe you, at least not in Hollywood, because they'll be like, are you sure you're not also a scriptwriter? And also, you know, it's that joke about Hollywood, right? Everyone you meet has a script. Everyone you meet is producing their next project. And you know, it's true. It's true, but now there are so many ways to do that in so many different forums. And as someone who started out as an actor, went to the classical theater training programs, right? And found myself, because of COVID and other things, in this, God, I'm going to say it and I hate it, in this brave new world, right? Where I was allowed, if not encouraged, to use so many different skills to perform, to create, to engage with people. And that's how I got hired by Tender Claws to be a performer in their game, The Underpresents, and then worked on their production of The Tempest within that game, sort of utilizing live actors as NPCs, as storytellers, as ways of engaging with the user in this medium that felt more effective and direct than other types of, of medium engagement. And then through that, working with friends to start this company, Ferryman Collective, and it's very convenient, it's up there. That's some of our earlier stuff, starting in 2020 with this very small thing, next Krampusnacht, next Welcome to Respite, and others since then, and each time learning, and each time realizing that this was the medium I wanted to be in. So that's kind of how I got there. Brendan?
Amazing. I'm Brendan Bradley. I'm an actor and self-proclaimed scrappy storyteller. I started producing theater as a teenager because I didn't have access to one and wanted to make stories with my friends. And I went to NYU and the Royal Academy in London and basically pursued the very pretentious theater classical track. And then basically just, if I consider acting basically the dialogue between myself as an artist and myself as a technician of my instrument, and I've just added instruments over the years. So that began with digital filmmaking and real filmmaking, and then 360 video, and then more immersive technologies. And I founded the Innovation Lab at NYU to be able to put technology in the hands of students. And during 2020, when everything shut down, I thought I should use my gifts to basically help other people get back on stage. So I released a free playhouse in web-based virtual reality, which set me down a course of helping other creators basically bring their first VR prototype into web-based VR. And then I've been most recently touring a original musical, which is a hybrid format, multimodal, of a seated audience, an on-stage participating audience, a virtual audience, and then a live stream audience, to kind of take intimacy of VR performance and then scale it to the largest possible eyeballs.
All right. So, Keith, can you roll Sims? We're going to take a look at some of Sims' work.
Is the volume up? Is it loud?
We're here at Metastage. We put Katya in VR, and now we're making Bob a hologram.
It's gonna, the world of drag is going virtual. I'm never gonna get back in drag again. I'm gonna start sending this video to every gig. Yeah, but why Bob wearing the same outfit for every gig?
It's be on a screen.
I turned it into a series of AR TikTok filters. This has never been done before. There's never been volumetric 3D video on TikTok. Now there is. Look at all these fun things people are doing with the things that I made.
You ain't never met a bitch. You ain't never met a
How can I be gay when I like the JJ? Hetero. How can I?
One great thing about living in Astoria is that Bob the Drag Queen puts on free shows in our grocery stores. But, I need fabric softener and she won't get out of the way.
So after I worked for Bob making those filters, I was contacted by Turner Warner Media to do the same thing for Inside the NBA, for the NBA Finals. And I got to work with Charles Barkley, who is one of my favorite people. My favorite people being Bjork, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Charles Barkley. Just kidding, I've never actually read an F. Scott Fitzgerald novel. Also, after the NBA thing, keep watching because my VR film with Katya is next, and that's not the most commercial thing, but it is beautiful, and I'm very proud of it. So thank you for watching.
Love teeth, but hate having them inside your head? Do you find the feeling of sharp metal objects inside your mouth to be relaxing? If so, we have an experience for you. Hi, I'm Jonathan Sims, creator of Be Your Own Dentist, an immersive virtual reality film about removing your own teeth.
And I'm Katya. I'm the one that gets to pull out those chompers in the film.
Meditation is very important to me.
And to me.
And we wanted to make an experience that really pushed the boundaries of what meditation can be and what it means to be relaxed.
Yeah, relaxing isn't just about, having fun. It's also about experiencing a lot of pain.
And letting things go.
Like these.
Like your teeth.
Like these, yeah. We received a lot of teeth via the mail, and I put them in my mouth.
We would like to confirm that the rumors are true. The teeth that appear in this video were in fact from Katya's fans. To bring this experience to you, we deployed a variety of teeth-based technologies. It is shot in true stereoscopic 3D, which means that if you're watching this in a visor, you will experience it in 3D the same way you experience a 3D film like The Avengers or Star Wars. So there really isn't another virtual reality film quite like this.
And no, there's not. It's unique.
It is. Yes, there isn't another
unique.
There isn't another stereoscopic immersive film about removing your teeth while being guided on a meditation of self-actualization.
Yeah, where's the blood, huh?
Yeah,
where's the blood? Where's the blood? Yeah, we kept asking ourselves that question, and then we answered it.
Okay, so big hand, everyone. Okay, so. What is that?
I'm sorry, what? You just
What
saw
did
it.
we just watch? What in the actual?
That's me. That's what I do.
Okay, so all right, so let's talk about marketing that. Let's talk about who we sell that to.
You sell that to our fucking fans, all 4 million of them.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about how you find that audience, since the endeavors that are happening here are so futuristic and so beyond so many people's idea of what you can do in a next level cinematic situation or next level live performance situation. So you say, go to Katya's audience. What happened? What was your journey with Be Your Own Dentist? Tell me. You went to the film festivals.
I'll try to be. Yeah. So I was doing kind of like transgressive, experimental, like novel tech shit, like in 2016, and I really love drag queens. I'm queer as fuck. I love people that are queer as fuck. I love queer art, and I wanted to work drag queens, and so I made a thing with a drag artist named Kuchi Banaka. She's also a trans rights activist in Seattle, and no one knows who Kuchi is. You should look her up. She's great. Kuchi, like Gucci, but like with a C. And that got, Katya saw it, and it did some festival stuff. We won some awards. Katya saw it, and she was like, I want you to pull out my teeth in a VR film. And I was like, absolutely. And that was really it. I made a thing for nothing in the genre and the theme and the style that I believe in, that's me, hoping that the person I wanted to work with saw it. We had, and they did, and it happened, and that sounds like it was easy, but it certainly wasn't, and I got paid barely anything for it, so.
So now, as far as the TikTok filters for the AR TikTok filters, what's going on with the NBA as far as like highlighting this filter? I mean, you've got Charles Barkley. I want to know why more people don't know about this.
It's been used 11,000 times. I think 11,000 videos have been made with those 3 filters, and we have 4 others that haven't been released yet. So I'm not quite sure what Turner's strategy is with that, because I'm not looking that closely at that world. But they seemed happy with it, with those numbers. So people are just sharing it virally on TikTok. I have some ideas on how it could be, I don't know, it's going well. The Bob thing went well. It was an exploratory venture from them, and I'm really happy they did it. And I think they're curious kind of where, it was their first time putting their toe into this pool, and I'm really curious to see what they want to do next. And it is very exciting to work with somebody that actually believes in the tech, and that's another thing I say is like find people that believe in this stuff so you don't have to, we're talking to you about this, like it's like you aren't just selling yourself, you're also selling the medium. You're like a vacuum cleaner salesman that's going to door with people that have never heard of vacuums. And you're like, before you can even get to buy my vacuum, they're like, wait, why do I need a vacuum? I have a broom, it's not loud, I already have it. And then you have to tell, and then you just end up sounding like a crazy person. And so there are people out there that want this stuff, and I recommend finding those people and playing to the audience that already believes in the medium, and then they can listen to you and focus on how you are different. And that's a lesson that's been a long time learning for me. But yeah.
Well, as far as expanding an audience, Ferriman Collective has been nominated for 2 Producers Guild Awards. And that's yet another avenue. We have the commercial avenue to try to knock down doors. And then we have the industry insiders. So if you get that support from the inside saying, oh my God, these guys are up to something and it merits some attention, you would think that through something like the Producers Guild Award, you'd be able to knock down some barriers. Tell us a little bit.
I mean, yes and no. Certainly, I think that Jonathan's very salient point about like going to someone's fans, to an established fan base, is an incredibly useful way of getting this stuff out there. But we've gone about it in a very traditional theater sense, I suppose, where we've really done a grassroots building of an audience. So hoping that the product will speak for itself, which I think in many ways it has. We have built an audience. We have people that are waiting to come to our shows, are messaging us asking when our next productions are happening. And that, I mean, you can see even with these 3 shows, each time trying to level up and trying to reach out to people, not just in the theater world, but beyond, and building, just constantly building, interacting with the fans. So if people express interest in our shows, being very open and upfront, we take people backstage, as it were, in VR. If they're interested in how we're doing this, we're very much about outreach and encouraging people to create and be their own creator. Something that I think is really important to this medium is the ability for people like myself who were not in the tech industry in any way, but are now being able to create in that medium and meet with other creators and interesting people. Just at this conference, I've talked to so many people from sound, from film, from the tech side, from headsets, who, upon hearing what we do, which to clarify is live, interactive, fully interactive theater in VR. So you enter into a play like an immersive theater style show, and you are a character. You're given a character. You are part of the play. And we take you through a narrative story structure. All the actors that you interact with are live. They're in there with you. They're experiencing this with you. You're having emotional feelings and experiences with another human being, which I think is a very crucial part of what we do and why people have gotten excited about it and support it. And we continually try and improve on that and find the best ways to interact with our audience. We've been very fortunate in that because we come at this from a theater background, but with an open mind. What are the possibilities? What problems can we solve with VR? That as we've moved forward, people have gone, wow, that's great. I never thought that you could do that. I didn't think about it this way. And I think, I don't know, I think that is the way forward, is to show people the world in a way that they haven't seen it before, right? We have theater, we have film, they're fantastic. I love them, we all love them, right? They're great, we have video games. But now we have this new medium that is like those things, but different. And I think that the problem that Jonathan brought up of like having to sell people the vacuum is the barrier. How do we show people that this is the next step. This is the next evolution in entertainment. And I that's the question I want to answer. How do we do that?
It's not just selling it to like the audience, it's selling it to like the financiers,
Yes.
the people that you're
Exactly.
trying to make stuff for. They're like, why do I want to? What do my fans
What does
really
this
wanna,
do?
Want to put a thing
Who
on their
cares,
face?
right?
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Brendan is kind of that kind of melting pot where Brendan just finished wrapping on a movie, like an important feature, and to have someone like Brendan that is part of the Hollywood structure, who is a known actor. You're going to tell us about what you just wrapped, and he's in both worlds, so he could see how the Hollywood structure operates from the inside because he is who he is, and yet he's still trying to bring in this new layer into performance. So you straddling those worlds, tell us what just happened and just elaborate on what it is to act on so literally multiverses. Because you're a theater actor, you're a film actor, and you're a VR actor.
This is how you break an NDA.
That's not true, because there was an article in Deadline Hollywood, so don't play.
No, I literally just wrapped a movie. It's a horror movie. I've been waiting to make it for 3 years. What I love about it...
Starring Ron Perlman and Roseanne Arquette.
And got to work with Hellboy. What more could you want? And I think what's fun about that is, that is a project that came out of the pandemic. And so many projects, all the different systems in place of how you tell stories are all equal now. That is the conversation around the digitization of everything, the democratization of content, this idea that it is all just a pipeline. So it really, like Whitton was kind of referring to, and a lot of what Jonathan's talking about is, it's choosing the medium that serves story. We're really at this place that you get to choose what are the tools that tell my story in the most compelling way, and the accessibility of resources. If I don't have access to a camera, if I don't have access to a venue, is this another way that I actually have accessibility to tell my story? And I think that I exhibit 3 different kind of worlds in the sense that I am just an actor that gets to be on other people's playgrounds and sandboxes. One of them being Whitton's. I've been in 2 Ferryman Collective shows. I've gotten to tour the world, technically from my living room, performing in these live VR shows, which has been incredible, and learning their version of, because kind of the Ferryman Collective aesthetic, if I can brag on them, is intimacy in VR. It's truly capturing the idea of one-on-one connection, where you are literally performing either a show to one person or a show to at most 3 people. And the work that I've done in VR and XR is figuring out how to extend that. I think that whether it's cinema, whether it is theater, whether it is video games, we're selling a lot of vacuum cleaners apparently. And the idea is to get butts in the seats, to reach a large capture of audience, to scale those efforts, but without losing what this medium affords, the weirdness, the wonderfulness, the intimacy. Oh,
for the last few.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's roll the tape.
No, roll the tape.
No, will I ever? So I think that in complementing what has already been said, what I've really been working on is in the way that movies, I think, are struggling with the limitations of digitization, in the sense that streaming kind of took away from box office, took away from the water cooler, took away from the gathering, the ritual of attending storytelling. A lot of my work is figuring out, from the real estate model of entertainment, of these venue approaches, how do we incentivize them to take this sort of work into their venues and see this as not a deficit or against their business model, but actually a complement to getting a new audience, a different audience into these doors, maybe an audience that wasn't previously invited into those spaces. And then also having this additional virtual layer of being able to reach an even greater audience and even greater revenue capture, if that is what the ultimate goal is for them. But let's roll the tape and see pretty pictures.
Yeah, let's do the Whitton Frank video.
The Ferryman Collective video.
Oh, it's the fair. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's me, but it's also Ferryman. I'm speaking.
Thank you, Keith.
For the last few years, myself and my company, Ferryman Collective, have been at the forefront of creating a new style of theatrical entertainment, beginning to develop what we have termed digital Broadway.
Alex! I got to play Alex! And it was so fun being like the center of attention. I love being the center of attention.
Oh, it was a really amazing experience. I haven't done a lot of VR stuff, and it was like so mind-blowing, but not just for just doing the VR, but just the experience itself, like feeling like you're part of the action going on around.
In this brave new world, performers can transport audiences to any location or setting without ever leaving the virtual space, all from the comfort of their own homes. Live performance has been a crucial part of human entertainment and experience for centuries, and we hope to continue to add to that tradition, as well as make it more accessible. Virtual reality technology has come a long way in recent years, and now it's being used to revolutionize the way we experience live performance. Using specially designed headsets and controllers, audiences can immerse themselves in the performances, interacting with the performers and each other in real time, creating the opportunity for shared emotional experiences and connection. This type of work is creating new opportunities for artists to express themselves. They can create performances that would be impossible in the physical world using the infinite possibilities of the virtual space. They can explore new forms of dance, theater, and music, pushing the boundaries of what was once considered possible. It's not just about the art itself, however. Live performance in virtual reality has the potential to make the arts more accessible than ever before. No longer limited by physical location or capacity, virtual reality performances can reach a global audience, connecting people from all corners of the world. We have been privileged to perform at the most prestigious festivals in the world, garnering multiple awards and accolades, and all of our team members are sought-after speakers for conferences and universities. In addition, our work has been cited in academic journals as pioneers in the field.
And turns out the whole time I had a guardian angel taking me through this really tough time to be a kid. And it was actually a real person in another VR headset helping me out.
This work is pioneering a new set of storytelling, which does come with its own set of challenges, and it is still an emerging medium fraught with technical hurdles and a steep learning curve. But the tech will continue to improve at an accelerated pace, making the possibilities for live performance in virtual reality truly limitless. The created show will be grounded in the heart, with a strong foundation of the human experience, so that when the element of awe-inspiring visuals is added, it gives the audience an experience that can only be found in the realms of this new emerging storytelling genre.
You know, that was a beautiful video, and that video is, you know, I hooked up with these guys because as a publicist, this is where my heart's at. And to be able to see the passion, see the clarity, see the work is really, really inspiring, and it's very, very difficult to get the world out there to really acknowledge the deep artistic maneuverings that are happening here. Because not only, I mean, we're literally 100+ years. We're here 100+ years ago, you know, when cinema was becoming cinema, and we were trying to understand how to make art with this thing that recorded life around us, and what was celluloid, and what was the lighting, and how do you tell a story so you're just not filming a proscenium stage? How does editing move the story? All of that. And we're learning how to tell a story with VR, not unlike the Lumiere brothers were trying to tell a story with the cameras back in the day. So you guys are a constant inspiration for me, and when shit's going sour, I'm just like, but Brendan Bradley! All right, so about that, real quick, we're gonna open it up in a little bit, so if you guys have any questions, we could definitely do a little chatty chats. But real quick, another panelist that wasn't able to make it, Victoria Bousis, I'm going to share her trailer for Stay Alive, My Son, and I'm very, very proud of her. She won the Producers Guild Award for Innovation, the Innovator Award for the Producers Guild. And if you could roll that trailer, Keith, this is fantastic work. Stay Alive, My Son.
Summer frolics at sea. My family was my greatest strength.
We must get ready. The Khmer Rouge troops are near.
We were love. Packed of essentials, we left our home and walked in maze.
Where are we going?
Until the drugs bring us to the camps.
I want to go home.
Father who abandoned his own son. Wear this ring to remember your father yet now lives with you.
Salvation lies in oneself. All virtue and evil will have their effects on this life or the next. But if you make merry, pray for clarity, and perform good acts, then suffering ends, and you live forever.
So, that's yet another avenue. That's a serious piece about some serious stuff, and definitely the critics and Hollywood's paid attention to this, and that's a real big step in the right direction. And like everything else, when you're trying to create a new world, you grow in spurts. Amazing projects like the projects that you've seen here and Stay Alive, My Son will push things forward for a little bit, and then nothing happens for a long time. And then you take another step forward. So before we open it up to the floor, Sims, I'd love for you, actually, we left off with Whitton and then, oh, we did? Okay, so we're back to Sims.
Can I just that thing was beautiful,
right?
Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse looked like that. I'd want to fucking be in that. That's
yes.
It's really cool. It reminds me of Neil Stephenson's metaverse, the original metaverse.
And we did
the real
that
metaverse.
We did that with only 100 megabytes.
Wow. See, that's
in
what
VR chat.
Constraints. That was in VR chat. Oh wow. Constraints sometimes are actually really beautiful things.
Yes.
What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bibbidi-boo. Okay, so what was I going to ask you? Sims, where are you going to? What's happening now? What's next on the horizon for Sims?
After making transgressive drag art for 6 years, I just want to make a lot of money off sports for yeah, I want to try to push this volumetric AR filter thing going on. Because my whole thing is trying to onboard new users, and I'm trying to go where the fans are and meet them with the technology they have, which in my opinion is this thing right here. The people that have 5 headsets, we already have them. They're good. They're not going anywhere, except to buy more headsets, I guess. And I think that we need to really inspire and excite the younger generation who have this effortless this new semiotic vocabulary of memes and signs and sounds. And if you go on TikTok and look at what young kids are doing, it's like they're speaking in a different their feeds are just it's just this cacophony of symbols. It's these are the people that are going to be making the stuff that makes VR really an XR really hit. And I think we should be playing to that audience, and we should be, making stuff for the people that they like, and we should be inviting them to engage and stuff. So I'm just trying to, I'm trying to go after artists that I like, for their own merit, but have huge fans who have huge fan bases and who have albums they want to promote. And I'm trying to use XR to promote existing business models like albums, concerts, shows. NBA Finals, stuff like that, and to like, because that's what the civilians understand. They get that. They can understand doing something new if it's in service of a ritual they're already familiar with, like going to a concert, buying an album, going to a Spotify playlist, watching the NBA Finals. Like they're down with that. So if you can slide in like the new tech and your ideas in that, like a Russian nesting doll, then you're speaking to an audience that already exists, and you're getting a chance to be yourself and hopefully be yourself, and also suddenly you're showing this stuff that nobody has seen in this expo hall to people that didn't even know it existed. And that's, so what's next for me? I don't know. Hopefully more of that, I guess.
What's next for you?
Oh man, okay, so let's see. Ferryman is doing a lot of collaborations coming up. We're working with Meta Rick. I don't know if any of you know Meta Rick and Kevin Mack, who are both world designers and developers. Kevin Mack is...
Oh, Kevin Mack's great.
Yeah, he's freaking awesome. Academy Award.
His son actually helped me write the shader for John.
Then we should all like...
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Oh my God, yay. No, that's like been my whole thing this weekend is finding odd connections from other worlds, and they're all meeting here. I love it. So we're working with Kevin Mack on his world Namuanki, and we're going to take it and develop a story like Gumball Dreams with it. So Gumball Dreams developed because of one of our developers, animators, an incredible world builder, Screaming Color. If you haven't gone and seen his worlds or his work, please do go into VR chat, check out Gumball Lounge. It's freaking incredible. So our co-founder Deirdre basically went to him and said, I want to develop a play based around your world. And so we did that, and that became Gumball Dreams. So we're doing something similar with Kevin Mack with his world Namuanki, which is incredibly beautiful, and also with Meta Rick and his world Uncanny Alley, also both incredible worlds. So Jonathan, what you mentioned where you didn't know VR chat could look like that, it can. There are these incredible worlds out there. There are these incredible, incredible builders making beautiful art. And I will, absolutely, it's art in VR chat. So I encourage everyone to check it out. So we're doing that. Can I tell them like sneaky news that's not officially announced yet? Yes, okay, it's not officially announced yet, but we're working with another immersive theater company. I'm talking about it tomorrow, so we'll at a Next Stage Summit. I have to leave after this to go talk at an immersive theater summit tomorrow. So where I will also be talking about these things, but we're working with another incredible award-winning immersive theater company, Spy Brunch, on taking their show, The Pod, which is about space travel, but also about human relationships with AI. It's a fucking beautiful show. We're taking it and we're bringing it into VR. So that's what's next for us.
I am continuing to tour my live virtual reality musical. I've also developed a new musical called Degenerate, which is basically, we've integrated AI generation inside the VR world so that the audience has a keyboard and they can actually build the world around me while I sing, so that they're actually helping me co-create, and then we can have a dialogue about why did we create this, and can we actually be more thoughtful and curate rather than just generate a bunch of nonsense. And then that all comes out of, speaking to kind of what Jonathan's speaking of, I do really believe that where this comes from is not just having 3 people creating on a 6 to 18 month cycle, but really trying to open up these tools for the maximum number of people. And so I run an incubator and think tank called Onboard XR. Rebecca Evans is one of our lovely participants, twice. And it is an open application seasonally for anyone to build their first VR prototype in web-based tools. So there's nothing to download. You don't have to own any equipment. We've had people do dance and puppetry and mime. We've had people at keyboard or using full body motion capture, whatever tools they have available to them. And those prototypes often lead to grants, employment opportunity, production, future expansions of that work. So for me, it's all about anybody in this room that wants to make something, make the first shitty thing so you can then make the slightly better thing so you can then make the next thing, because that's where we all started.
Yeah,
and that's where we'll all keep starting.
Yes. Well, that's inspiring. Amazing. Well, we've done a really good walk around the block when it comes to a sampling of some of the XR creators out there and what they're trying to do and how they're trying to tell stories and find audience and be part of a larger entertainment structure that sometimes we really have to play with to be able to just get more of a word out, be bigger, inspire more people. So with that being said, I would like to talk about something that you mentioned at lunch about the great equalizer. So we'll go close up with the great equalizer and how maybe the great equalizer could hold a key to broadening the audience.
I mean, I think it can. I think both tech and theater have, in their own ways, sometimes been the opposite of what they purport to be. You know, theater tickets, Broadway costing hundreds of dollars for people to see it. Tech being incredibly expensive or even almost closed to some people, completely closed off to people in various countries. And this medium, to me, with the ability to build your own world in something like VR chat or to collaborate easily with other creators in something like TikTok, or to talk directly to a creator, right? To reach out, you know, and go, hey, I want to build something with you, is the way we are going to create new and interesting content. And I think is personally, this is my, you know, soapbox or my hill to die on. I think it's the way forward. I think we have to be talking about what do the people want, not what do we think that they want, but what do they want? Talking directly with them, asking them, collaborating with them, bringing them into the space and saying, how do I work with you? What do you think about this? As opposed to this sort of the way that things have traditionally been done, which is let me show you what you want, right?
Yeah, there was a lot actually of overlap. I'm not sure how many people were here for the previous panel with the collimation guys who I hung out with till late last night. Don't remember either of their names, but there was a lot of overlap with what they were saying about how content, and I hate that word. It sounds like just like a nameless ingredient in the super process. I call it material. I guess it's a synonym, whatever. Content is king, and I want to continue that conversation. Like that is exactly the conversation we should be having. Is like we need to be making stuff for this stuff. Like
yes.
There isn't content for like the visors from 3 years ago, let alone the stuff in that expo hall. Like we need stuff, and it needs to be good stuff.
Yeah, and we need to not wait for permission to do it. Like if you have an idea, do it, and then
take risks.
Yes.
and that take risks, and that's the only way we're gonna find new things. And like I don't see enough risks being taken with XR stuff. And when I see one taken, it's like, cool, yes, maybe it doesn't work, that's fine. At least we're trying something new. That's what this should be about. I think this stuff is way too safe. Maybe my stuff's too scary. Maybe there's something in the middle. I don't know.
Well, that's part of the discussion too, right? That's part of the discussion too. Yeah. Like the whole palette, you know, creating genres. What does that mean? Like, you know, this is literally in its infancy. And you guys are all the babies. You gonna chime in on something, Brendan?
Well, we all stand on the shoulder of giants to have gotten here. None of us invented spatialized computing. But I think that is, in many ways, what is so inspirational is that I think we're at a moment right now, if the topic is kind of Hollywood and adoption and all that, Hollywood is having a moment right now where we're in a writer's strike. I moved to Hollywood for the first time in the middle of a writer's strike, the last one, where we were ironically arguing about the same stuff. But the idea being that out of that writer's strike, the writers began creating their own work and understood the direct pipeline to an audience. And I think that this accessibility of being able to create a story at a lo-fi level, reach an audience immediately, iterate on top of that, these tools are only getting more and more powerful, and your opportunity is only getting, ironically, more and more available to you. The fact that there's less and less people that seem to be doing the work.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird paradox. I think that we're all kind of saying is like, and what's kind of absent from like this discourse is like, you know, we were talking about YouTube and like VR chat, Twitch, like this idea, like I haven't heard anybody talking about Twitch here at all, and like it's a huge like ecosystem. There's lots of VR stuff on Twitch, lots of XR stuff on Twitch. Those people are making money. Not that that's what it should be about, but like that will attract people who will like invest in your art and your stuff, and like and there's like a feedback loop of like, you know, what do people want? That's exactly what like TikTok, YouTube, Twitch is directly about. Like, what are people actually responding to? And I think that question is not being asked, you know.
Well, speaking of questions being asked.
Yeah.
We have about 9 minutes. Anybody have any questions?
To be
All
asked.
right, we got to take her.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm a fan of your work. Yay. So I wanted to see if you could talk a little more. Brendan, you mentioned scaling, and obviously having a team of technical people and actors performing for one or two people at a time is maybe not like a business model. I mean, if you have grants and stuff, that's great. But you know, like Sleep No More and these kind of experiences, they pulse lots of people through at once, and it's interactive theater. Have you looked at it? I mean, what ideas do you have for scaling? I'm curious about that, where it might be, you know, business model behind it.
Sure. So what I'm currently doing is I develop work virtually and remotely, which obviously cuts down cost, and it's all cloud-based so that we're able to iterate as efficiently as possible from different places. So my technical director is in Austin, Texas, for example. And when we take this work to a venue, there's the number of people in the audience, right? Whether that's 100, 300 seats, which is a paid ticket. People understand that relationship. They're seeing the world projected on the big screen. I'm then standing in front of that screen with whatever space is available for the onstage area. 4 audience members are our active participants. That's a VIP ticket. That can be more money. Sometimes they could be an influencer that might want to track their audience and have copyright available material to be able to sell a ticket around and have a meetup around. So then I'm playing the game with them. And for all intents and purposes, they're basically fucking with me for an hour. But that's very fun for the audience. They're in on that joke. And then that experience is available to a virtual audience that is then going to be an invisible and muted avatar because we don't want them to disrupt, because it's obviously the internet has the worst people and the best people. And then we can then live stream that, to Jonathan's point. There's a bunch of people who just want to sit back and watch this stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
We don't actually have the data to support.
We're forgetting about all of that, too.
Yes, we don't have the data to support that they all want to interact, they all want to play. It's a massive spectator sport. There's a lot of passivity to this. And so then that can go out to untold number of people. If we look at RSC, for example, Royal Shakespeare Company, during the shutdown when they did Dream, they basically just streamed a 2D Unreal Engine viewport. That's what they did. And they got 6,000 people a show to just watch that. I watched it, I wept. It was beautiful. But so I think that when it comes to scalability, the venue still gets to preserve their economic structure. And then there's this whole other layer that might help subsidize some of the additional considerations that are needed to finance this work.
Also, I mean, yes, we are doing a show for 3 people at a time or 1 person, but because it's VR, I can spin up a lot of instances of that same world if I have the actors, right?
So if you're familiar with standardized patient work, what Ferryman Collective does is train a bunch of actors on the same role so that we will be performing the same show synchronously, like simultaneously.
And I can't take credit for that. Tender Claws actually had us doing that with Tempest. So there would be a lobby. All the audience would come into the lobby. There'd be 10 actors. And as our shows were supposed to start, we would take those 10 people into the world. So there were 12 shows happening at once. So you do the math on that, right? And I mean, for Ferryman Collective, I can tell you we charge $50 a ticket. So we do have a scalability model. We sell tickets, I mean, and we make money doing that. And we can pay our actors.
They do. They pay their actors.
We do, nice. Right? So the sky's the limit in many ways.
I just got to jump in here too, because I was like, as you're talking about this, so have you looking at the VTuber world in Japan as a model? Because, you know, right now there's about $2.3 billion being earned by VTubers, agencies, and independents. And they're making money through basically virtual meet and greets, merchandise, and all these other formats. Have you thought about like everything from transaction all the way to the meet and greet to like expand those revenue models. I'm just curious for your thoughts on that.
I mean, I mean, we can speak to basically like the merchandising possibility is there in any entertainment forum, the meetup idea of bringing people. I know Fairman Collective does backstage tours and stuff like that, which is awesome.
It's funny, actually, Katya, the first thing she wanted to do is she was like, I hate meet and greets. Can we just make like a virtual meet and greet? I'm like, yeah, we can make it really fake and it'd be really funny. And then, you know, she didn't want to do it. But that's actually, yeah, I mean, I think there is a way to like do that. And I mean, I don't know, maybe try it. And that's what this is about, trying something.
But also, like, think about Broadway shows. They have programs, they have ticket stubs, right? People collect those. Yeah, there's nothing to stop you from, like, selling virtual tickets. I mean, I hate to bring up NFTs and stuff, but essentially, you could do that. You could sell those things as part of the show. We have unique avatars for our shows. At the end of the show, you get your very own unique avatar from our show, right? And the great beauty of that, though, is that I've gone into public worlds on VR chat and seen people wearing my show's avatar. Really cool. And it's incredible. Really cool. And suddenly I go, oh my God, you saw Welcome to Respite. And they say, oh my God, yes, I played Alex. It was amazing. Yes! See, there we go. Yes! Alex, right? And then suddenly people are asking, what's that? And suddenly you go, it's this thing. And there we go. There's, you know, new audiences and word of mouth and all those wonderful things.
You just need to attach the metadata to the avatar so that when people click on it to clone it, it sends them to the ticket link.
That would be amazing. That's a great idea. All right, there we go. New ideas.
All right. Questions?
For all of us who want to see lots and lots of good content, I appreciate that you remind us that we all started out making bad content. For all those people who get famous, but being a writer who suddenly becomes a YouTuber or an accountant who becomes a TikToker, what is the beginner project that you tell people to make when they go, I have no experience, I'm not a 3D artist, I'm not a game dev, and I have 3 hours I want to spend on this before I see if I like it or not?
I mean, I never asked that question to anybody, so I don't know why somebody. I mean, I think if you want to make something, you want to make something. I think if you're asking somebody what you want to make, you don't really want to make anything. I think to answer your question about people, maybe I misheard you, was like people that have maybe followings on YouTube, or I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but like, I do think, and we were talking about this earlier, like, finding VTubers, finding influencers, finding people and be a part of my thing. Get some VTuber as an actor on your thing or something. Like, they don't. People that have followings or like have presences on like social sites like that don't need to make it themselves. They can be a part of your thing, and you can use their clout to promote your stuff and the medium all at once. I'm not sure that answered your question.
No, I think I think you're almost going like, you go to them and you say, come be a part of this. You didn't even know you wanted to be, but you do.
And maybe you pay them. Maybe you pay them.
Yes.
You know?
No, totally.
Like.
So, all right. Very quickly. Great thing about. I keep saying VR chat, but in general, there are worlds out there. You want to do a show? Go find a public world. Do a show. There you go. And so many people did that during the pandemic. There were comedians in alt space doing shows because they were trying to figure out how to function during this time. There were magicians doing that as well. I worked with a very successful magician friend of mine, and he was like, I need to start doing virtual shows. How do I do that? And I said, well, we got to make you a thing and a filter, and then there you go. Off you go. There's your stage. It's beautiful. We had an AR filter for him as a magician stage. It was incredible. All right, Brendan, what should people do? Or, oh no, there's another question, sorry.
Two very quick questions. One is, what genre do you think works best for VR? Second question, wouldn't you agree that 180 field of view, 3D, is just enough?
Great question. Yeah, the genre for VR, I mean, documentary is a really easy one. I think horror is also a really good one, and I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with point of view and horror. I mean, horror just as a genre already has the idea of a first-person POV in like Hitchcock and Giallo films, and like not knowing who you are, I mean, there's a lot that's already organically happening there, and horror is super easy. It already has horror has the largest embedded fan base. You can make a horrible, cheap horror movie, and lots of people will see it and like it and not even know it's bad. So I think horror is the answer, or a documentary. That's my answer.
I don't think, personally, I think there are things that work well, but I think you have to ask yourself that question when you do a project. is this best suited to this medium? Is it suited to something else? Are there things that I want to do with this that can't be done in another medium, right? I can't make people fly around my world with an alien who's passing on to the next life in film, right? I can't make people in the body of a child the way that I can in VR. So.
All right, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
All right, I'm going
to
to say comedy with teeth. And I say that because I think that it's nice to really affect people and to be able to use the emotional resonance of the medium. But because it is glitchy and weird, I think there always needs to be the permission and the out that the audience knows it's okay to have a good time and knows it's okay to laugh. I think the dentist video is
comedy
such a
and horror.
great example of
Checking
that
all the boxes.
in the sense that you're so deeply affected, but you're also kind of like, okay,
horror.
I'm allowed to laugh at this. This is weird. I'm allowed to be uncomfortable. So I would say that fine line between balancing with letting the audience know they're allowed to have fun, it's allowed to go wrong, it's allowed to glitch out, but also
that's a good answer, yeah.
Then really looking for the ways that you can affect the most change because you are dealing with a truly embodied and emotionally resonant medium.
And very quickly, 180 degrees is not enough. That's why immersive theater is so popular, because you can be fully immersed in it. Everyone wants to be a part of the story.
I would agree, but I would say that like if a platform you're working with has to be 180 degrees, don't say no because that's a limit. Think about how you can think about situations that will play towards that. Yeah, this is another thing. We're running out of time. In a landscape full of new technologies that are full of limitations, it's best to lean away from the limitations and into the strengths, and don't try to fight the limitations. Just accept them and go with it, and go and just so like, all right, 180. You're a spaceman. You can't turn around because your spacesuit is behind you. You've justified that stupid thing that your platform has demanded that you conform to, but now you've incorporated it into your art, and that's what I try to do.
Amazing. Amazing. Everyone, thank you so much for the panel.